everybody, this is Tiotitlan. So, the Mount Rushmore of strangest movies I've ever seen is most definitely Sardos, Naked Lunch, The Holy Mountain and El Topo. And we're going to take a look at a movie today that's most definitely not a traditional Western. This is by far the strangest, most surreal Western I have ever seen in my entire life. It is something that I will never ever forget watching, but it's also a movie that is very flawed, but also almost kind of works. But let's find out more, shall we? This is my review of a very strange movie, El Topo. So there is a man all dressed in black that is riding through the desert. He also carries with him a naked child for some reason. We will get to that in this movie. He meets this evil colonel and his bunch of evildoers who is doing evil stuff. And after having killed him, he meets this woman who tells him that I will love you forever and I will be your soulmate. But I can only do that if you are the most fierce gunfighter in these lands, and you cannot call yourself that unless you have defeated the four masters. So he sets out to defeat these four masters. Sounds simple enough? Well, it isn't. All of these encounters with four masters is very, very surreal and strange, and it is, what the hell is this? But it is memorable, and these characters are the purest definitions of memorable and surreal characters. But once we have gotten to what is roughly the half point of the movie takes one of the sharpest turns I have ever seen a movie do ever. And it becomes a totally different animal, and I was like, what is this? What is this? What does this have to do with anything that happened before? And I was bored, and I was getting very restless because there was just nothing going on, there was nothing happening, and I was just so sick and tired of everything. And I felt, well, it is surreal and it was fun, but now it is just strange and I'm not interested in this anymore. And then they did something that was very strange and surreal and throw in even more Freudian and religious allegorical stuff than what they had done before. And I was like, what is this? And then they did something. And it was one of these things where you go, oh, that was what that meant. It doesn't fix the movie entirely, but it actually made the second half of the movie link up to the first half of the movie in a way I never saw coming, but I should have seen. It is not, a twist on the level of Usual Suspects or The Prestige or anything like that, but it was certainly a moment that made you go, whoa. El Topo is a movie filled with allegorical images of, as I said, Freudian things and religious imagery and stuff like that, and some of it may be, laid on a little too thick for some people and maybe a bit too obvious at times, but it is still a movie that is memorable, maybe for all the wrong reasons, because it is one of these movies that everybody feels engaged doing, or they just took a lot of LSD and said, fuck it, let's just do something that is completely out of the ordinary. And the director for this, who is also, of course, responsible for the strangest movie of all time, The Holy Mountain, plays the lead character. And if I will compare these two, which is the only two movies I've seen by this guy, The Holy Mountain is the more watchable movie because it is so unbelievably surreal and strange. This one is the better movie, but it is also a movie that you will just see once. But if you want to see a Western that is unlike anything you've ever seen before, and if you can stomach some of the more, overdone messages about certain things, and sometimes the message is laid on a little bit too thick maybe, but if you can stomach it, you will find a movie that will be unlike anything you've ever seen before. For better or for worse, it is at least a movie that will leave you feeling something and that you will remember years after having watched it. This was enormously entertaining in bits. It was also very boring at bits, but for the whole thing, it actually kind of worked. El Topo is a tricky movie to rate, but I'm gonna give this movie 66 points. It is a movie that is unique, completely out of this world, and doesn't look like anything else, doesn't feel like anything else. If you want to have a classical Western a la, you know, something that Clint Eastwood has done, or a John Wayne Western, stuff like that, you have come to the completely wrong place. But for the right audience, this is the thing that they have wanted to see for decades, and they will finally be able to do it. So which one is the most surreal movie that you've ever seen? Do you like El Topo? Have you ever seen it? Comment below and I'll see you next time for Well So and So reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.